On the third medium, third long, on the game plan, stuff like that.
Coach, can you scoot up a little bit?
Yeah.
Please.
We talked to you 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. You were like, hey, I welcome the pressure. You know, I want to know if we're talking about the offensive line. If you're ready for it. We're now in spring practice. How do you feel about that?
Really good. Guys have been competing. We got to play the game a little bit today for the first time versus the defense, so it was good for the kids to go out and play the game. But still the same. I mean, we're rolling a lot of guys, so I mean, I know that question will come up at some point. The answer is I still don't know. We're rolling a ton of guys with the ones, and we like it that way. So you're getting to see some young guys that haven't played do some things. You're getting to see some guys, you know, do some positions that they might not have started at that they're moving to. But yeah, just getting out and be able to kind of part a whole of individual, group work, working with Larry's guys. We're doing a lot of stuff with the D-line, technique and fundamental work, and then getting to play the game a little bit at the end. That's been a lot of fun.
Justin, I have the position. John Frye is probably the most short thing you see on that. What have you seen from him? He seems like a pretty confident guy.
Yeah, Ryan said it really well after practice. You know, you get to a spring and it's anew for everybody, right? We have everybody, you know, new titles, new age groups, new positions, new freshmen to sophomore. I think Josh so far in spring has just embraced that role of like, okay, I'm now the next year guy. I'm the veteran guy in the room now. I've played some, I've been around the expectations. So he's probably embraced that the best just in his preparation and his overall understanding or being proactive in things that may happen to play that position out on the edge. And so I've been really pleased so far with just kind of how he's trying to take the next step in training and the limited practices at and how hard he goes, and then situationally when to use what technique and those things. You've seen that come out a little bit.
Justin, I asked Coach Day about Carson, or excuse me, just about the center position, who's coming on there, and he said Carson Hinzman, the guy that's really coming on. What are you seeing out of Carson Hinzman, and just kind of what stands out about it?
Well, the same deal. He's getting thrust in. I mean, if you think he's not even been here 12 months. So 12 months ago from now, he was still like baling hay and knocking icicles off the barn up in Wisconsin. So now there's Mike Hall and Tyleek and all those guys in front of him. Just getting out and competing that way has been good to see. Because you never know how these guys are going to go until you let them go play the game. And so obviously we don't have games, but taking those live reps. He's embraced it. He's won some and he's lost some, so you got to learn from those, right? And the same with Victor. Victor played tackle last year. We brought Victor in here to be the inside guy. So now we just talked about a little bit with Josh, like adding the element of putting a ball in your hand and blocking the nose guard at Ohio State. You know, there's some adjustment there, but I think those guys that really haven't done a lot are biting into it. You know, Toby's floating around and getting some center reps too and doing a good job. He's another year older, so his understanding's helping him play a little better. And then you got Josh Padilla, who's the same guy. He played tackle at Wayne, and now all of a sudden, hey, here's the football. So you're playing one-handed. And it's not wrestling in the shot for a state tournament, and it's not playing, you know, Springfield anymore. You're playing a really good defense. So all those guys, they're taking their lumps, and they've shown some really good stuff so far.
Center's kind of the quarterback of the offensive line. I mean, how important is it to find a guy by the end of spring that you're really confident in?
I mean, yeah, you'd like to, but you can't timestamp it. I mean, you go the other way. We've got, I mean, this was practice 4. So we have 11 practices left here and another 30 plus in fall camp. So you could look at it that way. It's kind of the tone you take, but no, the expectation for these guys right now is we've talked about it in spring ball, and you just got to embrace the process, right? If you love the process will love you back. So today was practice 4, and we played ball, and we had some good reps and we had some bad reps. So how do we enhance the good ones, and how do we get better off the ones we lost?
Justin, Josh mentioned about midway through last year where his confidence was really on the click. Have you seen a difference in him from midway through last year to now?
Well, we talked about that last year with Josh. Being number 6 is the hardest position to be for linemen because he wore 41. He went in some of our extra lineman packages. Knowing he was right there, but you really couldn't get over the cusp, right? And guys take that 2 ways. They go in cruise control and put the governor on, or they just keep fighting and battling because I'm the next up guy and it might be me. And you got to start the 1 week. You know, he played Indiana, played the home school, home state school, which is good. And so, yeah, I think him feeling like starting to bear fruit, like I can really do this. This is the build-up. My knee's feeling better. I'm off the injury. A lot of those things do. And then just as I alluded to before, where now he's playing the position to own the position. He's not just taking reps. He's using reps, you know. And that's shown him so far.
how have you seen his chemistry with Donovan on that side?
Those guys, our room, like chemistry-wise, like I say this all the time with program, we have great dudes in our room. So for them to be hanging out outside of here and the brotherhood and all those things, like that's not cliche and BS here. Like they live that. So from a chemistry, like at the end of the day, whether you like them or you don't, they love each other. Like the guard next to the tackle better know what the hell they're doing because we got to put the guys together most of the time. So continually working on it, but it's really good.
I know you can't speak about specific recruits, but how is offensive line recruiting going for you, and how much do you think it's going to help having like Paris Johnson being a first-round pick and two other guys that are going to be high picks? How much do you think that's going to help you guys?
I think you come to Ohio State to be a first-round pick. We offer kids to come to Ohio State to be the best version of themselves. And so, yeah, I mean, you guys are going to help recruiting? Yeah. What does it change in recruiting? You got to evaluate the right people. You got to bring in the right people, and you got to make sure that you develop the kids, and you got to build relationships that way with the players in the room as they continue to grow. I mean, you look at that like my answer to that is like you got Tegra, you got Carson, you got George, you got Avery. Like I wasn't involved with those guys at all, except for Carson, making sure we brought him home at the end. Right? So your common ground is they want to be great, we want to make you great. This is a place to be great. If you have that opportunity and you take it, then that generally doesn't fail, right? And so now you look at these young kids that we have coming in. They all should be going to prom in 6 weeks, not getting ready for the spring game on April 15th, right? So they're out here doing that, and they felt comfortable enough to do that, and we obviously felt comfortable enough to make them want to do that. So to see Paris and Luke and DeJuan doing what they were doing the other day, and then now knowing I have that opportunity if I work hard like that, if I execute that way, then yeah, that's great for recruiting.
How do you feel like 2024 recruiting is going for the O-line and beyond?
Have we signed? Is that the sign that's coming in
No,
December?
you can't speak on specifics. Yeah. Just like in general, how do you feel like recruiting is going? Are you happy with it?
Oh, I love it. I love talking to high school coaches. I love when kids come to visit. Recruit, yeah, that's the lifeblood. Recruiting in general, put a number on them. I love recruits.
Talking to Tegra, one thing he talked about last year when he came in, he wanted to take everyone's head off. He wanted to attack. And he had to learn to stay calm against elite defensive ends like JT and Jack. How have you seen him grow in that area? And then what's the importance of balancing those two things for an offensive line?
That's a big, long, loaded question. We go off base bin, balance, and burst, and so trimming the fat and getting every guy you get comes in and they're elite. Like Tegra's an elite level player in high school. He's an All-American. The All-Star games, he does all this stuff. Then he shows up here and he's Tegra, the freshman. So yeah, for him to see that, good. Now, how do you get back to playing to your level? You work through those base fundamentals. Ryan talked about today. We have great effort and technique. That's what we're focused on today. So if you're a high-level player and you have great effort and great technique, then you'll produce high level. Younger guys, on top of that, though, have, well, do I go right or left? Do I have this guy or that guy? Do I have this? So there's some more stuff that's spinning in their head. So the more you can dive into that and slow that down, then they're able to play faster again. So I'm really happy with what he's doing and really unhappy with 2 or 3 plays that he did today because he didn't block the right guy. But his attitude's great. He's so passionate about being his best version of himself. He's so passionate about being a great football player, and we're just trying to stack those days on top of each other. Right?
Carson specifically, did you see a light come on in him in bowl practice? I mean, Luke Whipper indicated that yesterday. And has it continued to brighten, I guess?
I mean, you saw flashes.
Yeah.
To where he was doing things that maybe true freshmen shouldn't do all the time or normally don't do. So if you mean like light coming on there, like, yeah, you watch some clips and be like, oh, that was good. Who is that? Oh, it was Carson. All right, here we go. Yeah. But I think that's a natural progression for a guy. Just like we talked about with Tegra, like he wants to be really good. He's on him. He's his hardest critic now, and so he's in extra all the time on top of the film study, and he's all over it. He wants to be really good that way. So that's going to continue to happen again. Like I said, I'm just repeating myself, but like he's a high-level talent that just is figuring out how to play at 296 pounds, just figuring out how to play at full speed. But if you continue to work, then it's going to keep happening that way.
And these guys are human too, as you. I mean, when they see a vacancy there, when they see a vacancy there, as opposed to there's an entrenched dude, I'm going to, you know what I mean? I mean, like Luke Whipper for 2 years was a pretty good player. You know? I mean, do you notice that change their attitudes?
I mean, I think it becomes more real. Yeah, when all of a sudden with a guy like now, like you're fighting for your life and to be the guy versus. Yeah. Well, it's not just another rep thing and I didn't get it, but maybe there's another one I got time, and then now all of a sudden the time is now to try to grab it. Yeah, there's but it's all positive. It's a good fight of, like we talked about that at practice. Everybody, a lot of guys are fighting for their football life. What does that mean? Like there's open doors, there's open spots. How do I go get them?
Zen was talking about how you kind of give these guys runway this spring to make some mistakes and build on them. Is that kind of an adventure for you, knowing that last year you maybe a little bit doing that with Bears, but knowing how polished Bears was, and already considered what he is. Now you're kind of giving these guys a little bit of a leeway to make those mistakes now and let them build on them.
Well, they need to learn from them. I think that's what with him. Like you know, in the fall, you win or you lose. In the spring, there's win or loser drills, but you got to learn why you lost them. So I think that's what he's saying. Of no, we don't want them to make mistakes, but like, why did I make that mistake? I don't need. There's no. I need to sit and figure out. Well, maybe because of this or that. Like, was it my technique? Was it my understanding of the play? Whatever that may be. And then they have to go do that and learn from that, but then they can't be repeat offenders. So like you make a mistake, okay, great, learn from it. The next time that shows, the same thing can't happen again. How do I correct it? How do I get better with that? And so like starting with today and then Saturday, we'll get a little bit of scrimmage going on. That'll be really good for those guys going to play the game and then understanding like, oh, I lost that rep and it was a sack, it was a TFL, or look what I used my technique, I did that and we made the play.
You shorten that leash every day now through April 15th?
In regards to like, I mean, we don't accept the mistakes. Is that what you're saying? Like we can shorten the leash.
Like you're kind of giving, like Zen said that you kind of give them the runway to correct the mistakes. By April 15th, you want to see no mistakes at all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you're striving for. Just as I said, that you don't want to be a repeat offender. I missed the rep. I missed, Jack beat me in this pass rush. Why did Jack beat me in this pass rush? Not because, well, Jack's a really good player. There's a reason for everything. So identifying that, seeing that, and then correcting that technically, fundamentally, is it schematically, where we've got to sit there and I got to say, you know what, I got to put you in a better situation. But yeah, you're trying to dwindle those down through spring.
A couple more questions, folks.
About Josh Fryer's confidence. When did he give you the confidence that now he's the guy who seems like taking his job to lose it?
I haven't said that, so if he said that too, I'm sure. Hopefully he didn't say that either. He's building his confidence, which will make him play better. Nothing's set in stone. I mean, it was just day 4, like I just said. I think he walked up. We've got 11 left, and plus another 30-some in the fall. So, but if he feels that way and is playing that way, then his play will accelerate and get better. But last year, I mean, he was 6 and he was grinding and he was game ready every week, and we found ways to get him on the field. And when his number was called, he would go in and make those plays. And so now, when there's an open spot in front of him, that confidence should help propel him into saying, "This is my spot. I'm going to own it."
There was clearly a decision made at some point that last year he had spent all his time on the right side, either guard or tackle, and now he's.
Well, he played on the left in the tight end stuff, so I mean that's right hand, left hand, so that helps moving guys from side to side. Guards can play both ways. Matty Jones played some guards, some center, so you got to play your 5 best. So yeah, the transition of that stuff will help. But back to the initial point, he's building a really good, confident foundation for him, so he can play some high level ball.
How do you see Jacob James factoring into the center competition once he's healthy?
He's having a great spring for him, the best he can. Every time I turn around, he's behind me. He's like, "Coach, what's the call? Where's the fit?" You see him watching the tape. He's doing exactly what he has to do to be ready to come in and compete in the fall, right? And so I'm really happy with what he's doing. He's a pissed off bulldog sometimes sitting back there because he wants to be in there and he can't, and that's fine. But he's doing exactly what a guy that can't be taking the physical reps needs to be doing right now, so that when he is, given a leash and let go to go play, he's doing a really good job with that.
For Donovan Jackson, he mentioned that there was a conversation in the winter with you two, just about maybe switching to tackle, but then ultimately deciding to stay at guard. What did you take away from that conversation, his willingness to stay at guard for maybe the good of the group?
Well, we just had a good meeting of he wanted to know what the plan was, what his, what did we see with him, because just like all the guys with Donnie, Donnie's an elite level player, and he wants to play that way. And Donnie's also a team guy, so he wants to do what would be best for the team. So our conversation off of that was just simply what do we see as our plan? And I mean, could Donnie play? Yeah, Donnie could play all 5 positions. He's that athletic. He could play outside, inside. He could he'd have to cut things off his wrist, but he could snap if he needed to. I mean, he's that smart and he's that athletic. So just keep wiggling through spring. But I mean, right now he's in a really good groove at the guard position. Enhancing his skill set, maybe doing some more trigonometry stuff, whereas a guy like Austin Sierreveld is still using his abacus and counting 1, 2, and 3, but they're both doing numbers right now, which is good.
How have him, Josh, and maybe come along? Did you get first couple of practice here? What did you like about them?
All of them have come along. You know, I alluded to earlier, like those freshmen and those rookies right now. April 15th should be about prom time normally for them. Instead, they're getting ready for a spring football game. And so the extra practices and the stuff they're getting is good for all those guys. And the best thing about Luke and Austin and Josh and Miles, all like for mid-year guys, you haven't seen that like, whoa, overwhelming feeling yet. The rest of it, yeah, they got a long way to go. Josh is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and he's working the game, and he's seeing the things that he can enhance, and he's finding his warts that he's got to fix. And then, you know, a guy, you know, Georgie's doing a good job too behind him. You know, I mean, that's another guy that George has just now been here a year. So, I mean, George Fitzpatrick last year asked him about it, and he didn't know, you know, which shoe was right and left and how to tie him. And now he's 298, 302 pounds. He got his black stripe off today. You know, he's playing better just because he's another year mature and bigger and stronger. And so just really excited and having fun where everybody's at a little different level, but everybody's getting better right now.
Coach, thank you. Not that you weren't going to seize on it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, kind of looking at the spring coming off of last camp, or I should say bowl camp, bowl prep and stuff like that. Coach Frye was just talking about how every practice from there on, since at the start of bowl prep, is going to be vital, like, to what I want to do here. And looking at what I want to do here and like trying to be a starter and doing everything I can to get that part, obviously spring is going to be vital for that. We have a really, really good competition. We have a lot of really good guys in our room. I think personally that spring is where most of the growth will happen at.
Yeah.
And I think to be able to play or have the opportunity to play among like the best two guards and arguably as the season goes on some of the best five we have, or best four guys we have up in the country, I feel like I don't want to waste that opportunity. I feel like that's something I really, really want to capitalize on. So this spring's been a lot of growth, a lot of work, a lot of work in the winter with Mike, Coach Mike or GA,
yeah,
and Coach Frye to try to get to where I want to be come this fall and potentially this season.
Yeah, Luke Whippler said yesterday when I asked him about you, he said, yeah, you thought you really took a big step in bowl practice and stuff. I mean, because obviously you maybe could see a vacancy coming there that maybe a lot of us didn't see of Luke stepping up, you know, he's stepping on. But do you remember that too? I mean, did you find yourself more comfortable as the days went on?
Yeah, I mean, I remember coming off of bowl prep and going back home and just kind of like sitting down, like just like really visualizing what I want to do, and coming back and like, I mean, obviously like most guys here kind of knew he was going to leave before he actually announced it.
Yeah.
But finally when that hit, like, I mean, obviously coming up and playing the guys I do now, like there's some nervousness and some whatever that comes in that. But after the first day, I've never felt more comfortable playing with the guys I do. Center is basically a position as I play off you guys. I'm kind of like a support player. Like I'll lead it, but for the bulk of the physicality and work like that, I can rely on my two guards and my tackles for it. And like I said earlier, I have the best four guys in the country, so I have absolutely no worries of like being like some superstar that I'm not yet because I have to grow into my role yet. Yeah. But just working every day and listening to the older guys. Donovan's doing the most amazing job I think anyone can, leading the team, helping me. There's a play on Tuesday where I left Donovan dangling, and it was completely my fault. And he came over to me and he got on me a little bit. I needed that. The player after that, we fixed it, we got it going. So it's been an honor to play with those guys. I'm hoping that we can continue to play with that and continue to grow and get as better as much as we can.
You left Donovan dangling. That sounds funny.
Yeah.
Real quick, your background, growing up on a dairy farm, right, and stuff, and I would think you had early mornings and things like that. How is that translated into like a discipline, for want of another term, to get you where you are, at least at this point? You know?
I feel like
kind of like the Cade Stover version, except he doesn't sell y'all milk the cows. He sells the cows.
Exactly. Coming from that background, it's not more as if I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. So like Coach Frye says it's the best. It's nothing's extra work if it's just work that it takes to get to where you want to be. And I feel like being a dairy farmer and like waking up every morning, like we didn't think of it as work. It's just we're just doing it because that's what needs to be done. Like riding my bike, actually I didn't get a bike until later, but I had to run down to my grandparents' when I was like 8 at like 3:30 in the morning to go help my grandma get out and start milking the cows. And I never looked at that as work. I never looked at it as chores. We just looked at it as, this is what we got to do today. Yeah. And I feel like taking that culture and those values into this, like, I mean, I may not be here as long as Marv because he sleeps here, but or he lives here somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah.
But I try to come in every day, get as much work as I can in. And I mean, only been here 9 months, so I have a long way to go, obviously. So just trying to continue that work, continue that work ethic that my grandparents, my parents have passed on to me. So, but yeah, that's probably the whole key to my success.
Quick follow. What time do you usually get up every day? I mean,
here?
Yeah. I mean, what time do you wake up? I mean,
I mean, in here it's like 5:15, 5:30. So
yeah.
I get to sleep in. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carson,
thanks, man.
You were, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were mistaken when you were being recruited here that you wanted to challenge yourself, and that's why you came here.
Exactly. Yeah.
With Jacob out for the spring, if Victor hadn't have come, kind of been Carson's the center for the spring. With Victor coming in, how much has that kind of helped you challenge yourself to know that there's another guy right there who could just as easily be the center of Ohio State?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, Victor's an awesome athlete. He's a great, he's an experienced guy. He's played a lot of football, a lot more football than I have. So he's definitely been a great competitor. He's been a great guy to come in and help competition. Obviously, that mindset, I was a little bit kind of like, all right, they brought in another guy. I wouldn't say that like took me down or anything like that. It just kind of built me up. Like, all right, this is where I really got to show out if I want to do what I want to do. So having that extra drive, that extra work ethic, especially in the winter, really helped. And then kind of attacking that into the football piece and stuff like that, like making sure I'm super fine-tuned on everything I want to do, on every extra rep I do, every extra thing I come in and do with Coach Mike or any of the other guys who want to come in with. But it's definitely been a great competition, and I'm looking forward to what happens in the fall.
When we talked to Coach Frye February 1st, I think it was. He was like, oh man, Luke left. He's going to be the center. And it's like, oh, Carson Hinzman looks pretty good. What did you do? Like, what did you do to catch your coach's eye? Did you kill it in bowl practice? Was it winter workouts? Was it film stuff you were talking? Like, how did you show him that? I
think, especially being an offensive lineman, consistency is the first word that would define a great offensive player, especially an offensive lineman, offensive center. So bringing that consistent effort and into practice, into bowl prep, into workouts and winter workouts, and just trying to get myself better as much as I can. Trying to show that I really, really want to do this, and that I believe I'm able to be able to grow into that spot. I feel like that's kind of the things that he kind of saw in me a little bit. I mean, I've never been one for ego or nothing like that, but I just love working with the guys I have, and that made everything so much easier. So I feel like being able to kind of see the hard work kind of put into fruition and start to see some takeaways from that. I feel like that's probably speaks more than just a guy who comes in and super talented or something like that and just kind of wants it but doesn't put in the effort and stuff like that. So I mean, I feel like it's just kind of the values we kind of put out and the culture we kind of growing in the line room right now.
Did you have center in your head the minute you got on campus here or no?
I remember he talked about putting me in interior. I know a lot of other O-line coaches talked to me about putting at center, but the first few months I was here I was a right tackle. Because he said he wanted me to kind of feel the speed of the game before I moved inside, which is totally fine. I mean, I learned that. I just had to relearn everything. It felt like, because I mean, you got to think 8 months ago I never passed that or snap in my life, so a lot of work had to be done to go into it. But I mean, I'll play center to safety, whatever they need me to for the team. So I'm not worried about wherever you would like to put me or nothing like that.
How much were you watching Whippler, trying to study Whippler last year then?
A lot. Luke is probably the smartest guy I've ever seen. I mean, watching him, I've been watching a lot of Jason Kelsey's film. He's my favorite player. Watching guys like Josh Myers in the past and stuff like that, and guys who really are kind of bulldogs in the trenches. And they've been really fun to watch. But yeah, Luke's been a huge help, kind of more mentally, I guess, than watching else, because we're not necessarily the same body type, so it's hard to play exactly like him. But learning stuff and having him getting pointers and stuff like that was huge in my development.
Are you completely comfortable with all the calls now?
We're learning new ones every day. So I would say I'm never comfortable, because you can never be comfortable because our defense is always scheming and stuff like that. But I guess I would say I'm comfortable in the fact that I know my job, and I'm confident in the fact that I know our guys know their job. So I'm completely comfortable being the center with 4 humans that I'd gladly go to war with, because I know they got my back and I got theirs.
What was the day, if you had to guess, that you first snapped a football here?
It would have been the second week. It was the Thursday of fall camp, because we were going into the scrimmage that Saturday, and my first play as center was with the 2s because Jacob was hurt. So I've been snapping the ball for 3 days, and Frye gives me a text this morning. He goes, "Hey, you're starting today." I was like, all right. First ball, snapped it right over Kyle's head. It was awful. Yeah, so it hasn't been long, obviously. So just being in here like extra hours and stuff like that. I know Teg's catched a lot of balls for me. Roommates coming in and working with each other. It's been really great having like Kyle and Coach Mike and Devin coming in and catching balls for me every day. So just trying to get that muscle memory down, trying to get everything down, and not being rattled when you see guys like Mike Hall or Ty Hamilton sitting across the line like growling at you. So it gets nervous, you want to snap that ball, but yeah, just kind of like learning the confidence, learning that muscle memory has been huge, because obviously it hasn't been long, but yeah, for sure.
Coach Frye said,
last question.
12 months ago, you were bailing hay and
literally, yeah. Yeah.
And to be in position to possibly start here, I mean, what's that been like for you to go that quickly? Because most guys bide their time and wait years.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even feel like that long ago. It just kind of feels like yesterday, but I mean, there's been a lot of work to put in, and I just kind of like to take it day by day, because that's all we really got here. So every day I'm just trying to get better. Every day I'm trying to get the team better. I just want to be the best version of myself that they can get, so we can go do something special. And I believe like keeping that mindset of every day, not looking too far in the future. Obviously you can see and hear stuff. I mean, Coach Frye always says noise is noise, like it's whatever, but you can still hear it all the time. But so just trying to keep that kind of that narrow focus on my goals. Hasn't kind of got me too up-headed or anything like that, obviously, because I know we have a guy injured right now and a guy who transferred in, so anything's on the table so far. I'm just trying to compete for a spot that everyone else is too, so just working every day trying to get what I can.
But how confident are you that if you're the guy, you're ready?
100%. I mean, God's blessed me with the opportunity to be here, and I would not bat an eye. Obviously, I'm not going to believe it until I see the roster going against Indiana, but
right.
But if that's what they need me to do, I would not hesitate one bit.
Thank you, Carson.
Thanks, Carson. How
Yes.
old are you, Carson?
What's that?
How old are you?
19.
How's it feel to be the veteran guy, one of the veteran guys, you and Matt?
It's weird just to say that I'm a veteran of the offensive line. All throughout the offseason, coach making the entire strength staff, and now the O staff, like, hey, like, you're a veteran now. You gotta do the things the right way the first time and lead the young guys to do the right thing so they're not repeat offenders. So it's definitely a new role to try to, show everyone what to do. Because obviously, like, it's not easy coming to Ohio State. High school to Ohio State is a whole different speed. So just trying to teach the young guys to make sure everyone's on the same page. We have great practices and keep stacking days.
You're going to have a new player to your left and to your right. Tell me what you see from Josh, for one thing, probably, and then what you see at center.
With Josh, I had previously already had Josh. My freshman year, I worked with Josh a lot. And even now, that chemistry's kind of boiled over to this year. We're always staying in constant communication, because that's what you have to do when you're working with someone new. You have to be on the same page, so you have to over-communicate to where the point where it's second nature. So just trying to build chemistry with Josh all over again, and with the centers, the guy inside me, we're working hard every day, trying to make sure we're on the same page. You have to have a strong inside if you want to get anything done. So making sure that there's no leaks and cracks in the O-line in the middle.
We've heard a lot about Carson Hinzman. What can you tell us about working with him, how he can kind of lead at the center position?
Carson's very smart. He's always asking for tips to progress his way of watching film, to tips of way of IDing plays correctly, make sure not only the O-line but the Qs and the RBs are on the same page as well. So Carson's taking strides in the right direction. I'm excited to see him grow. He's this is what second practice of us hitting. He's already making good strides of what he can become. He's just trying to stack days.
Were you expecting to stick at the guard position, or did you ever think maybe I'd just slide over to tackle?
I was I just wanted to how do I answer? I just wanted to be the best offensive lineman I could be. You know, obviously, like there were talks of seeing what I could do, but we have fantastic tackles as it is, and so I felt Coach Frye and I felt like it was probably best for me to stay at guard. You know, there's no worries at our tackle spots. You know, they're doing a great job, better than I could have. So just staying at guard and trying to put more stuff on tape, trying to be better at guard than I was last year, because there were a lot of stuff I could have worked on last year. So I'm trying to clean it up now this year.
When did you and Coach Frye have that discussion about should we try tackle or not? Was it after last season?
It was probably the beginning of winter.
Like
it was
January
just,
or so? Okay.
He was just asking me where I was at. And so we just had an honest conversation, and we just put what's best for the O-line. You know, I'm an offensive lineman. I'm not classified as an interior or anything like that. You know, I'll play wherever I have to play. And Coach Frye said, just stay at guard, and I'll stay at guard.
Was that conversation, hey, Donovan, what would you like to do? Was it him saying, hey, this is what we're going to do? How did that conversation start?
It was just kind of him feeling out what my opinions were.
Okay.
It was just, hey, like, if this happens, would you do this? And it was just me just being honest. And we just had a conversation with him and our GA, and we just worked from there and try to put the best 5 guys up front.
Is that sort of a break glass in case of emergency option, do you think? I mean, obviously the goal here is to have Tegra or Zen at right tackle and have Josh at left, but if you said the conversation went, if this happens, is that still a possible thought, I guess, as you move through spring and into summer?
Well, the conversation was just putting the best 5 guys up front. You know, we're just trying to keep the quarterbacks clean, the running backs having yards, so whatever way we can do it, we're going to do it. So that's basically how the conversation went.
How has that transition from guard to tackle gone for Tegra so far here in the spring?
I feel like Tegra's made great strides. He's changed his body for the better. He's light on his feet. He's better with his hands. You know, way better with his hands. So that was a good point of evidence of him coming into this year's work with his hands better. I feel like he's improved leaps and bounds. So I'm excited to see what he does throughout the rest of the spring and into the fall.
What do you feel like his natural kind of position is? Do you think he's better suited for tackle, or is that just something they're kind of trying out? Or
I think he's better suited for offensive line. You know, I feel like he would excel anywhere we put him. It just happens right now he's at tackle and he's doing a great job.
Well, can I ask you just a general offensive line question? What is the bigger adjustment for an offensive lineman? Is it moving from left side to right side, right, for instance, or is it moving inside to outside, from guard to tackle? You know what I mean? Like, is it the side of the line, or is it the position inside outside that's the bigger adjustment?
For me personally, I would say it's moving from left to right, because you have to rewire your brain. So like if we call a play that's zone left and now you're on the right, you got to think of, okay, now I have to do that. I'm not leading the play. I'm not on the back. I'm now on the back side of it. And it's when you get in your stance and you switch sides, it's a little off. So you have to like work your way into it again. So it's I would definitely say it's switching sides more than anything else.
Okay. When you look at your film from last year, do you think, man, I killed it? Look at me, I was a young guy, I was doing great, right, first year as a starter? Or do you look at it and say, man, I can do this a little bit better, that a little bit better? What did you think of last year?
I would say I'm definitely my biggest critic. You know, it's something that Coach Frye told me to not be so hard on myself for, but I definitely think I could have done way better. There are a lot of instances where if I would have done something different, the play would have improved by another 5 yards, or it would have had touchdowns instead of a first down. So I look at myself very critically. I look at myself what I could have done better. Obviously, yeah, I appreciate the stuff I do well, but I'm more critical of myself of what I can do better.
Why you like that?
It's just more of a perfectionist attitude. I feel like just never staying complacent, because I feel like complacency is the downside of all of us. You know, it's when the human element kicks in of like exhaustion, or oh, that was good enough, or anything like that. If I eliminate the mindset of oh, it's good enough, then I feel like I can be better as a player, because I feel like no matter how good you are, there's always room to improve. And so I hold myself up to a standard. If I don't hit that standard, I look at the film, I look at what I can do better, I talk to my coaches, I communicate back to my teammates to see what I can do better to help the team and the O-line.
What stood out about Josh Frye since he's moved to taking over the left tackle spot?
Just his overall communication with me. You know, where it's difficult playing next to someone different, and so we're making sure we're always communicating, making sure we're always on the same page, so we flow on the side we're on. So oftentimes, like, you look at someone and you can tell like they're not communicating well with the person next to them. So I feel like Josh and I are doing a great job of being on the same page. And Josh has always been very physical. He's always gotten after it. So I'm not worried about is the tackle gonna be there for me? I know he's gonna be there for me.
As you work on that communication, is that something you do on the field as well as as you give me saying, how do you work on that communication both on the field and off?
It's on the field and off. You know, we're in a technological age, so it's always a quick FaceTime, or he'll send a play over and say, like, hey, like, what were you thinking here, so I know how to adjust. And even now we were doing drills, and he was like, hey, like, I saw you do this, I'll do this to adjust to it. And I'll be like, no, you were fine. I need to do this to stay firmer. And so always tinkering to make sure we're putting out the best product.
Real fast, Carson Hinzman, what stood out about him over the month so far?
I feel like Carson's really grown over this past month. You know, coming in as a guy who asks a lot of questions and now putting it out on the field. You know, even today, like, he asked a question in a meeting and then today he put it out on the field. So having that constant growth is what sets Carson apart. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the spring.
Thanks, man.
Speaking of which,
seeing and the play calls and stuff like that, because they're complete opposite from the right side. So
the fact that it's left tackle that you're trying to establish, is that a bigger deal in your mind than if it's another offensive line position? Like, you feel a different responsibility?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the blindside for Kyle and Devin. If they don't feel safe and I give up something, then that's on me. That's my fault. So I feel like it's a huge responsibility, but I'm willing to take that responsibility.
Is it magnified at all the fact that it's first-year starters? Like, they're guys who aren't going to, you know, CJ last year had seen some things, had been through some things.
Yeah.
These guys are going to do it.
No, I don't think so, because I think Kyle and Devin are ready. I think that's a tribute to them, because I'm here at 5 o'clock every evening. I see them throwing, I see them watching film. So, like, I just see them putting in the work, and I know that they're going to do well.
Is that like an honor to you to know that they're trusting you to be that guy protecting their blind side?
Yeah, it's an extreme honor. I'm close with Kyle and Devin, so just getting to know them and then them trusting me like that's an extreme honor.
Josh, when you got here, when you projected out what your career could look like, was being the starting left tackle like the ultimate goal, or how did you do that, I guess, a few years down the road?
When I got here, I didn't know what to expect, and it's been a rough 3 years for me. But I think now I'm evolving into I can play anywhere, and it just shows people that you can be confident in me to play left tackle, and you don't have to worry about that left side like anybody else. So I feel like for me at left tackle, I feel like I'm going against elite pass rushers like JT and Jack. So I feel like once I get them down and then start beating them and keep going and keep going and keep going, then I'll be fine.
How did you arrive at this point? Did you say, hey, I want to try the left side, then they come to you and say, you think this is best for everyone if you go here?
It was just I guess it was just a transition. Coach Frye was just say, hey, go to left, and then I did it, and that was it. Yeah.
Why'd you say it's been a rough 2-3 years?
Freshman year, COVID year, never knew what was going to happen. And then the end of 2 years ago, tore my ACL. That was, I've never had an injury like that. And then this past year, just sitting behind Paris and Dewan, even though you know they're going to be NFL draft picks like they're going to in April. But just sitting back and watching. But I think last year I grew the most out of anything, because just sitting back and watching them and watching the elite pass protectors pass, I get a few things from them, and now I'm in that role.
Describe yourself as a player, your mentality when you're with the
yeah, I just say I'm tough, hard-nosed. I would say you can count on me in pass protection to do my job and not get the QB hit and not give up a sack and not give up a hurry. That's main. If you don't give up a hurry, you won't give up either of those two things. And then run blocker, I'd say a mauler. So yeah.
The experience you got last year, being the sixth guy on the O-line, starting for the one game he was out. What did that show you? What did you learn from those experiences?
For me, I think practice here's harder than the game, honestly. That's what I think. I think they put us in those situations of, hey, it's team pass. Like, the defense knows this pass, so you have to protect. But for the game, I thought it was a lot more slowed down for me. I thought it was going to be a lot more sped up, but it slowed down for me, and I thought it went pretty well.
Was there any pressure starting your first time in front of a huge crowd like that?
No, I don't think so. I think all the guys that started, Luke, Matt, Donnie, Paris, they were all confident in me to play, so I feel like I had that confidence to do that and play.
You seem like a confident guy, Jeff. Was that always been the case, or did you have to?
I'd had to build that up. That was building up because I'd get nervous every single time for practice. The past 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, but now I look forward to practice, and I look forward, if I get beat by JT or Jack, I'll walk up to them, hey, what I do, what'd you show me, and just get better and learn from that.
What changed there? Like, why do you have a different confidence every day now?
Because I think I know I can do it. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think, and all the people out here are confident in me to do it. So I feel like I carry that burden, and I feel like I'm going to carry it well.
When you've had to wait your turn for 3 years, how much more hungry does that make you to really show what you can do this year?
A lot more hungry. I feel like just having that hunger in you and waiting, and now you finally get a chance to do it. I feel like that's the biggest key.
Josh, Donovan was just talking about the process of building communication between both of you. How has that gone, and what's that process been like for you?
I think the process has been really well. Donnie, my sophomore year, his freshman year, we played right side together with the twos, so I feel like we have that connection. And I'm not I don't know how to say it, like, hey, Donnie, watch this. I'm like, hey, Donnie, if this comes, just watch this. I'm more of a chill guy out there because I don't want to be uptight about it, because if you're uptight, you're not gonna play well. You just got to be loose out there. So.
How often do you feel like you guys talk away from the facility? Like you're sending him a play, he's sending you a play, just to build that?
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, we do that all the time. Even when we were in Spiders the first 2 days, I felt like I called him. I was like, hey, Donnie, could I do this better? Could I do that better? And then he would give me feedback, and then vice versa for him.
Is there a big transition period moving right to left in terms of just like the stance, the way it feels like everything will be flipped?
Yeah, like exactly what you said. Everything's flipped. I don't think there's that big of transition because I've played left guard, right guard, center, right tackle, extra tight end. So like, I don't think there's a big difference.
Does it build even more excitement when that first game of the season is against Indiana?
Yeah, it builds. It's exciting. But you just gotta look at them, focus on them. Obviously, they got good pass rushers, good interior defense line. Got a good scheme, so they should be good, and we just got to prepare for them.
So your message, basically, to Buckeye Nation is at least about left tackle. We're okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to be satisfied with what they see.
What about the offensive line in general? Because obviously that's the biggest.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too. That's the biggest concern about that. I think we'll be fine too. I don't think if we communicate and you guys trust in us, I think we'll be fine.
Josh,
how do you feel like the spring has started for you?
I feel like it started good. I mean, there's definitely a lot more to do, a lot more to improve on. I mean, but we're working on it every day.
You played obviously guards pretty much exclusively last year. How much did you rep at tackle, and how much of an adjustment has that been this spring?
I'm with the twos, right? Well, I mean, we rotate back and forth. So, I mean, it's been a harder transition than I thought, but I mean, I'm working with coaches and stuff, working with Coach Frye every day to try to improve and get better.
What's been hard about the adjustment?
Definitely the space. I mean, this is the highest level as it gets. So, I mean, like being in space, being calm in space, being able to use your hands in space, feet, body position, all of that.
That's what this time of year is for.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to be learning, developing, making mistakes.
Absolutely.
What do you need to do to build your own confidence to know that you can be ready if needed come next fall?
Keep repping it. Rep it every single day. During practice, after practice, try to stay locked in to what you're doing. Just making sure everything you do is directed.
Who are you working with after practice, getting those extra reps in?
A lot of people. I mean, for the most part, we're all staying out here. But Donnie, for sure, Donovan Jackson, he's definitely been a big help for me.
How has he helped you? What has he told you? What advice has he given you that's helped develop your game?
You know, like just things like staying calm and, you know, being in control, being confident in your set, in your hands and everything.
I'm not sure if you've been asked about this, but we heard you lost your black stripe today. What was that like for you?
It was big. I mean, it was a long time coming. You know, things happened last year, but I mean, it's a good feeling to have it off.
Did you expect?
Huh?
Yeah. So did you expect to have lost it by now?
Definitely coming in, but I mean, I was more proud of the improvement that I made, other than just the stripe itself.
Mm-hmm. Is that indicative of everyone has their own path?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
How do you see that, now that it's off? How do you see that? I don't know if it's a confidence boost when guys get it off, but how do you see that helping you, knowing that you've reached that, kind of milestone in your career?
It's definitely a big help, but I mean, I'm gonna keep doing the same thing I've been doing every day. You know, working with coaches, working with other players. You know, staying after, getting better and improving.
What have you grown most from last year to this one?
Staying calm. Like last year, like in high school, I mean, obviously it was a little bit ago, but in high school, you know, I used to just want to grab him, kill somebody, just take him out. But I mean, here, there's a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of these players are really good football players. So, you know, you have to stay calm in that aggression, you know, stay, like, directed. You know.
So who's helped you the most with that?
Paris. Because, I mean, Paris, he's going into the draft now, but, I mean, last year and, like, just even today, like, just staying calm. Like, he's like, I know you want to go out there and just wreck everything, just destroy everything, but you got to stay calm. If you go out there and try to do that, you know, these guys are going to take it from you.
Yeah, like Pierce said, I was talking to him about that yesterday. He goes, you know, there's a time to be calm and a time when you got to just bring the violence, right? I mean, at your position, is that hard to bottle? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And like you talk about, I mean, when did it kind of hit you that pick your moment, so to speak, with that?
A long time ago, when I first got here, it hit me. I mean, you go out there, you try to just bulldoze somebody with your head down, and they move out the way. You out on the ground on your stomach. The coach is getting on you. So I mean, like, I immediately knew there was something that had to change. So I mean, I've been working on it since then all the way to now.
Does that show up most? I mean, you're making a transition from guard to tackle. Is that one of the difficulties in making that transition?
I'd say so. Yeah. Because I mean, in guard, it's the violence is right here. It's right here. It's right there. I mean, the tackle, and then it's back there. You got to go find it. You got to go find where you're going to start your pass rush, where you're going to start everything that you're going to do. So it's a lot different.
Now seeing Paris go through his pro day, seeing where he's projecting the draft, he talked about December at Beach Bowl, that that's where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Seeing him do that, does that help you even visualize it even more, that that's where you can be if you continue to do this?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been around Paris since we were little kids. I mean, we played on the same little league team. So just seeing him do the amazing things he's done, you know, the amazing things he's done for his family, for us, you know, I mean, it's a big motivator, I mean, to want to improve and better myself.
You guys played together in Little League?
Well, we didn't play together. We played for the same organization. We played for the Westchester Outlaws.
I was going to ask how many sacks you guys did that. Probably not.
Yeah.
Zen was talking about going against JT and Jack and just the defensive ends here every day. How much have you found, moving to the outside, that helps you and can help make you better come next year?
I mean, they're the best of the best. I mean, they're very good football players. Working with them, just like not getting discouraged when, say, they get the best of you, and staying calm when you're going up against them, knowing that you got a lot to learn when you're going against them. There's a lot on the table that you can take out of it. Just you know, using those guys to make you better, make them better all around.
Do you talk with them after plays, after practice? Hey, what worked here?
Always. I'm like, hey, what? You got me on that rep. Like, what do you think I should improve? I mean, they give me what they got. You know, they tell me what I could fix, what I could work on. You know, and they'll be like, hey, that's a good rep right there. I like how you use your hands and you didn't lunge at me and stuff like that.
Do you feel like, physically,
start to wrap it up with these two guys, folks?
Mentally, you just got to catch up with things and speed of everything?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I've made a better jump. Like I'm starting to get more like used to how this game is played. But I mean, I got a long way to go. It's a long time to improve too.
Is there a responsibility that you feel maybe of how tackles have been in the past couple of years, where they're going in the draft?
Absolutely.
They're starting to set and build here.
Absolutely. I mean, Coach Day and them, they brought me out here. It wasn't a coincidence, or I don't think it was a coincidence. I think they chose me because they saw the potential that I had, the potential that I didn't even see at the time. So I mean, I feel like I got a duty to this team, to this unit, to the quarterback, to anybody behind me, that I got to go make that play.
When did you start to see that potential in yourself?
I started to see it like earlier when I got here, because when you get here, you think, oh, I'm a freshman, I'm this, and this, but no, they expected me to come here and get the job done, because I mean that's what they saw. They saw the potential to do that. They saw the potential and they motivated me. They pushed me to do those things.
Tegra, what do you feel like you've done to put yourself in a position where you could potentially be a starter in year 2?
Just kept working over and over again. When you fall, you get back up, you keep working.
What's the dynamic like between you and Zen and kind of working at that same spot?
I mean, we work together. We work together during practice. We work together after practice. We pick each other's minds. We talk through things. We help each other out. I mean, just getting each other better.
You're in your second position in 9 months, I think, since you arrived here. Do you ever have to remind yourself, like, you feel like you made a lot of progress, but at the same time, like, hey, I've only been here 9 months.
Yeah, like Frye's, like, he came up to me one time and I was hard on myself. I was down and all of that. He's like, how long have you been here? And I told him a year. And he said, wrong. You haven't even been here a full year yet. And look at the big jump you've made since you got here.
So does that help you when, maybe there's a pass set where you make a mistake?
Absolutely.
You can kind of remind yourself of that, fall back on that, and know that you're going to continue to get better?
Absolutely. I mean, there's two ways to look at things. I mean, you can look at it as, oh, man, I messed up. I'm a bad football player. I'm this. Or you can look at it like, oh, I can improve on this. I messed up doing this, so I'm going to go do that next time. I'm going to stay calm next time. I'm going to stay directed next time.
Is that a newer mentality for you? I mean, when you came in, were you thinking that way, or did you have to learn?
I kind of had that back in high school, but I mean, it's definitely gotten better, a lot better. Just knowing that there's things to learn. I mean, you're not there yet. By any means, you got to improve. You got to get better.
Yeah, good. All right, thanks. What's going on, guys?
Zen, what's it been like playing right tackle this spring after playing left tackle previously?
It's been interesting. It's been definitely a change, but it's been fun. It's just a lot about rebuilding that muscle memory, because like all I've ever really known is left tackle. I've never, kind of a later offensive line kind of guy, so like it's tough. But I've gotten better every practice at it, so I got high hopes.
What are your biggest challenges when you are learning how to play the other side?
It's almost a completely different position at that point, because I feel like talking to just other guys and guys in my unit, going from guard to guard, it's hard, but it's doable, center to guard or whatever, but tackle to tackle, it's like it's a completely different position, and it's just learning everything again. You know what I mean, from the basics, and train your mind to do it.
Why is it that tackle is a bigger transition than switching guard spots?
I feel like our offense puts a lot into our tackles. Like we're, responsible for a lot of things. You got to be able to be by yourself on an island, or just, do a lot of different stuff that Coach Day wants you to do. So I feel like that's why.
So you said you feel like you've gotten better each practice. Like how have you felt that? How's that kind of shown up in the field?
A lot of the stuff the first practice was kind of just like revisiting all the basics, getting your mind to like not have to think about, oh, I got to like step over this board right now, or like I got to do this in team now. It's more about just getting my mind back to that, but I'm getting used to it. I'm building that muscle memory, and I can definitely tell that it's coming back.
What were the conversations like when I guess the coaches were trying to decide which side you played on? Because it seemed like this time last year you were making a little bit of move, playing sort of as a 2 on the left side, now that having on the right side. Like, were you okay with the move, or is it whatever gets you on the field faster?
Hey, whatever I'm, helping this team win. I'm cool with whatever. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I kind of wanted to try it regardless, so I'm just cool with it.
How much did you rep on the right side the first couple of years?
I've never taken a rep on the right side. This first spring. Well, obviously I did a lot of drills over the off season, by myself or with Coach Frye or whatever. But like first spring practice was my first ever time taking reps at right tackle.
You expected to be challenging for the job this spring.
Yeah.
When did they tell you that it's going to be on the right side?
It was early. It was really early. It was probably a couple weeks into winter workouts. Coach Frye just pulled me aside and was like, hey, we think this is going to be a better fit for you. You know, we don't want to throw you into the fire at left tackle right now. Just kind of get you used to it. You know, it's a little bit easier spot. You know, I got the quarterback's vision help and stuff like that.
What do you think Josh can do the guy at left tackle? Say that again? What do you think Josh can do the guy?
You know, I love Josh. He's a veteran guy. He's a year older than me. He's got experience. He played a game last year. You know, like I respect him a lot. He's a great player. So I feel like Josh can definitely do that. Hold down the left tackle spot.
You see the way the guys have been on the move from part of the tackle, vice versa. What is it like to see guys that come through and get drafted in line too?
Oh, it's really cool. Especially just the pro day yesterday was awesome. Seeing guys like Luke and Paris and just competing, because I remember when I got here my freshman year, they were like big brothers to me, and like just seeing them going from like their first year starting to now both going to be high draft picks, it's so cool.
What's the dynamic like between you and Tegra?
Oh, it's good. Tegra's big brother. I just took his black stripe off, so you know, like love Tegra. Just try to helping each other grow. You know what I mean? Because he's going from right guard to right tackle, so he has to learn something new too. I got to learn the whole other side. So you know, building it together.
What is it about the willingness at Ohio State to move positions? How was that pitched to you as you're coming in that you might have to take on a role that you've never played before on a side that you never played?
You know, a lot of that, I feel like a lot of that wasn't talked about before recruiting. It's more about like you got to be here and see where you fit, see how you play, and really like make decisions like that. But I mean, like coming to a college like this, you have to expect to be able to play multiple positions. These guys are going to go down. You know, like if I can learn right tackle and we need a left tackle at some point, I can still play left tackle. You know what I mean? So I feel like it just gives a lot of guys versatility, and like it's definitely, I was totally fine with it.
How confident are you that you will be ready to be a starting right tackle come September?
I feel great. You know, Paris, talking to Paris a lot last year, he's one of my best friends. Just like he was in a similar position I was in last year. I mean, he was going from right guard to left tackle, which is obviously a harder transition, but he had also played left tackle his freshman year. But like last year, just seeing how Paris kind of battled through learning a new position, because it's hard. He's like, I'm learning a new position against Jack and JT, you know, like some of the best defensive linemen in the country. So a lot of it is just like patience. Like you're not going to fix everything in one day. It's got to be bite-sized pieces. It's got to be like learning from mistakes, and you're just going to have a lot of mistakes.
How does it make you better going against those guys every day?
You know, just you're not going to see a lot better than that. I mean, like even last year, like coming in at the end of games, I'm like, dang, these other teams, starters are not as good as our guys. You know what I mean? So like, it gives you a lot of confidence, because if I feel like I can do it at practice and I can do it in a controlled environment where like they know it's team pass and I'm still winning reps, then I'm going to be able to do it in a game.
Seems like Coach Frye is a little willing to let you guys make those mistakes as you build. You say bite-sized pieces. How much does that mean to you guys? You're going to a new position. Tegra's going to a new position. Josh is switching to the left side. Like, seems like he's giving you guys a little bit of a runway to make those mistakes now. So September 2nd, you don't make them.
Yeah.
How much does that mean to you guys?
I feel like it means a lot, because I feel like you kind of have to let that happen in certain areas, because mistakes are going to come. And if you're a guy that is, I had trouble with this last year, but just dwelling on those mistakes, you're never going to, you know what I mean? You're never going to get past them. He's like, if I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, I messed this up last practice, and I get up to the line, I have that same play, that same rep, and I'm thinking about it, I'm going to mess it up again. You know what I mean? So like Coach Frye, kind of just giving that reinforcement and like being more lenient and letting us learn, is like I said before, like these first couple practices, I feel like I've improved every practice so far, so I'm hoping just keep doing that with his mistakes.
Are you also expecting him at some point, like, all right, it's time to start making those mistakes?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm expecting that for myself too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to keep making mistakes, but it's something that I kind of just got to expect to happen right now. I'm learning just a new spot. It's hard.
I know you said you're willing to play wherever they need you to help win games. In an ideal world, would you prefer to still be at left tackle, or does it really not matter either side?
I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like, I feel like learning right tackle gives me a lot more versatility, because like, say Josh gets hurt, something happens, like I can totally play left tackle still, it's not a problem. So I feel like me learning both helps me, especially if I to go on to the next level, and just the team as a whole. We have like, it just gives you an extra guy, I feel like.
I just feel like you hear about left tackles, like assuming you have a right-handed quarterback, it's not the primary offensive line. Right tackle is still very important. I mean, like, does it? I don't want to say like a demotion, but like, it's just not as talked about, I guess.
No,
you seem to be fine.
Left tackle is a hard fucking position. There's a lot of times sorry, I didn't mean to curse there. There's a lot of times where like the smallest mistake and Kyle's looking that direction, not this way, the game, whatever is over. But getting a little bit more lenience and right tackle is definitely, I mean, I've already seen it a little bit in practice where like, oh, he's starting to turn the edge a little bit more, he can step up, you know what I mean? And I didn't see it as a promotion. I kind of saw it more as like an opportunity, you know what I mean? Just like get myself used to both sides, and just it is a little bit easier, but it's definitely still a challenge. So, you know, I was excited about it. I was like, shoot, take a little bit of weight off my shoulders, I'm ready.
Is there any difference for you guys on left or right tackle, depending on which quarterback is back there? I mean, last year, obviously, CJ was the guy, but Devin and Kyle are a little different.
I mean, it's honestly hard to tell. Sometimes stuff's going on. I don't know who's back there. I'm really just focused on winning my rep or trying to, you know what I mean? So then I'll look back and go, oh, nice ball, Kyle. Like, I didn't even know you were back there. You know what I mean? So, I don't think there's much of a difference.
Have you found yourself
Last question.
feeling like you belong?
Yeah. I feel like, especially this year, I feel like from last year, I feel like I've grown, like even from bowl prep as try to be more of a vocal player, leader, like, you know, like I'm no longer kind of like sitting there for Paris and Luke to say something, or, you know what I mean? I'm trying to help out more. I'm just trying to help us win, pretty much. So yeah, I feel like I do belong.